Acaripus witti, also known as the tracheal mite, is a parasite that infects the respiratory system of the honeybee. It was first discovered in 1919 in the Isle of Wight in the English Channel and was believed to be the cause of the Isle of Wight disease, which killed 90% of bee colonies on that island. It was later discovered in Mexico in 1980 and was detected in Texas in 1984. Since then, tracheal mites have spread across the U.S. and caused a lot of damage and colony losses to different states.
Tracheal mites are microscopic and reside in the trachea of adult honeybees. Female mites will lay eggs in the respiratory tract. Normally, females will lay the eggs 3 or 4 days after entering the trachea, and the eggs will take another 3 or 4 days to hatch. Several days after laying the bees, adult mites will find another host bee. And after a worker bee leaves the cell, female mites will enter the trachea, and the numbers of mites are highest in 11 to 12-day-old bees, and eventually this number drops. The only way to detect tracheal mites is to look at bees microscopically. The tracheal discs are examined, and if there is an infection, the disc will be darkened or discolored. Since the mites are microscopic, they are not visible, but they can have an impact on the bees. Bees with tracheal mite infections are seen to have damaged flight muscles and shorter lifespans, and have higher levels of bacteria in their blood. Mites can get on the host hair from the trachea and can jump to another bee and enter its trachea. As a result, they can spread quickly between hives and apiaries.
A popular method to treat tracheal mites and manage this population is to use menthol crystals. Menthol crystals work as a fumigant and can kill the tracheal mites without harming the honeybees. They evaporate the best at 80 to 85 degrees. If the temperature is below 80 degrees outside, a 7 by 7 inch packet of 50 grams of crystals should be placed on the top frame bars of the brood chamber. If the temperature is above 80 degrees, it should be placed on the bottom board. This method of treatment should be used during on-nectar flow period after honey is collected, in order to avoid flavoring of the honey. Another method of treatment is vegetable shortening sugar patty treatment, where 2 parts of granulated sugar and 1 part of vegetable shortening are mixed and formed into a baseball-sized patty. The flattened patty is placed on the top frame bars in the brood chamber. This method should be used during brood rearing periods. Overall, tracheal mites were a very big problem. However, today, studies by the USDA ARS Bee Lab in Beltsville, Maryland, show a decrease in prevalence of tracheal mites in the U.S. This may be due to our current methods of control, treatment, and breeding of mite resistance.